with Wonderverse. So what you see here is one of the first things that when you log into Wonder, you see what we call a mission control. Because similar to a mission control module when on space missions, this is meant to be like your first place to go, where you can see all the information related to you. So over here on the left side, you'll see a contributor workspace. What it really means is that like you can see all the work that pertains to you as an individual contributor, like in the different statuses, like to do, in progress, in review, completed, across the different projects you're part of. So in this case, like I'm part of Sample DAO, which is something I just created, as well as Wonder. And so like if I clicked into this to do under the contributor space, what will happen is like I'll see a personal Kanban board. So a familiar format that I think we've all seen before, but it's all the work that we need to do like across the different projects. So you see like this particular one is for Sample DAO, but this particular one is for Wonder. So it's meant to like you can start your day here. You can kind of see like everything you need to do as a contributor. You can also take a look at the bounties that you're part of, that you're partaking in. So like these are like of course like the bounties that you have yet to do, but you've created them, or if you're or you've been assigned them. Things are in progress, in review, completed, or even proposals, because we support a proposal module and governance module for community members to create proposals and vote on them and discuss them. So these are all the proposals that are currently in flight that I'm part of. And then just going back to the mission control, on the flip side, like we know that as a contributor, you could also be the admin or operator for workspaces. And so like this is meant to be consolidating like all the decisions you need to make as an admin. So for example, like if someone wants to join your organization, you'll see it here. Right now there's none. Or you can go to the pod member requests. So these are folks wanting to join your particular pod within each workspace. I'll get into pods in a little bit, but pods are essentially just like sub DAOs or guilds or what have you, depending on your preferred terminology. You can quickly decline or approve someone's request to join a pod. And then I showed you proposals as a contributor, but this would be proposals on the admin side. So these are proposals created by community members, and as an admin, you can decline or approve them, or you can click into them for more details. And then also, like if there's submissions that require your review, you can also decline or approve or request resubmission of the submission. And of course, like just like other things, whether it's like getting kudos from team members for a job well done, or even just notifications. Anytime like you've been you've been invited to like a workspace, or you've been assigned a task and whatnot, like you'll get notifications over here. Um,
Just 1 second. We're gonna mute whoever this is.
yeah,
Uh-huh. Data crypto. Yes, thank you. I think you just muted yourself.
awesome.
That's
Thanks.
great. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so right now I'm showing what a typical workspace looks like. So this is for Sample DAO. So this is a Kanban board for the organization. So it aggregates like all the work that needs to be done across the different pods. You'll see like this pod is for Swag Pod, this is for core contributors, this is for strategy, this is for marketing, but this is all for Sample DAO. So pods are basically essentially a collection of people working towards a common goal. So like you could be functional, like marketing and engineering, or it could be like around projects. So for example, like Wonder was a sponsor for the Gitcoin funding round 15, focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I created a pod around GR15. So any work that is related to GR15, like I would put it in there. So the way that Wonder is structured is very flexible. So you'll notice like you have like this workspace level, which is like Sample DAO. But then under sample DAO, you have like the different pods. So like swag pod, training pod, etc. And then underneath that is tasks, bounties, and proposals. The idea is that with these three different levels, you can actually set visibility or access like at each level. So right now, actually, maybe I'll go back here. So right now, sample DAO is private. So you have to be a member of this workspace in order to see the content. I mean, I can see right now because I'm the admin, but you could have a private workspace, but then have a pod like Swag Pod that is actually public. So anybody, even if they're not part of the workspace, can then see these tasks. The reason might be that with Swag Pod, maybe there's collaborations or crowdsourcing from the community, logo designs or producing merchandise for Swag, and that's why you should be able to like set Swag Pod as public. But the idea is that because the permissions are at the three different levels, you could go to roles with the workspace, and you can create roles as you see fit. So by default, there's three roles. There's like an owner role, which gives you access to like everything. There's a core team role, which gives a subset of that. But then there's also like a contributor role, which is like your most basic role that you can you can do things like participate in discussions, you can claim tasks, you can vote on things, proposals, but you can't really do any of these other things. But what you notice is that these are very nuanced actions, and the idea is that like in many other times you're either like a super admin, like you have access to everything, or you don't have access to anything. We've built Wonder in such a flexible way that you can actually just customize this. So if for whatever reason the core team I didn't want them to manage comments, I can just like turn it off, and suddenly like this one particular action like they cannot do. The idea is that because these actions are very nuanced, you could even then create a role and call it like, let's say, moderator role, and the moderator can only manage comments, for example. With these roles, what's cool is that you can import the roles from Discord, and you can connect your Discord role to map it to like a Wonder role, like core team. So, for example, these are all the different roles I have in my Discord server. But for whatever reason, like I said, stationary lovers, the role in my Discord server will get core team role. So you can just map this Discord role from your server to Wonder role, and you don't have to like assign roles anymore. You could also token gate the role. So in this case, I say like anybody with at least one CryptoPunk will get access to the core team role. You can also connect your Guild XYZ instance, and map the roles that way. But like we want to make it easy for you to import and connect your relationships or roles from other sources like Discord and Guild to Wonder, so you don't have to set it up all again. Um, so from here, like you can also do things like configure your wallet, and you can then add in your multi-sig Gnosis safe, or you can just connect a MetaMask wallet. The idea is that what I've just shown you with the roles and the wallet, you can actually customize that within the pods themselves. So for Swag Pod, for example, if I went to settings for Swag Pod and I go to roles over here, you'll notice that there's a Swag contributor role. That's not the same over at the sample DAO level. So the idea is that because your roles are at the pod level as well, and you can also configure wallets at the pod level, you've enabled teams to be very autonomous, and they can manage access, but then also pay out contributors without needing to go back to the mothership for approvals all the time. So I think with that kind of structure, it just really helps DAOs become more autonomous and work on things themselves. Another thing I just want to point out is that we're integrated with a lot of different products that Web3 teams use, as I mentioned at the beginning. So you can connect your snapshot space. So for proposals and voting, you can connect your GitHub for issue tracking and creating tasks. You can connect your guild XYZ configuration. You can also connect your workspace to Discord. And so like anytime like there's a notification for like a DAO wide notification. For example, like any updates from SwagPod, it can go to like a SwagPod channel for notifications. For the DAO wide ones, I say send it to like hello friends, and anytime like a task or bounty or proposal is created or completed, you'll get notified here. Just so like it's more transparent, and your community can see what's going on with the workspace. Um, yeah, so maybe I'll pause right here for a quick second and see if like there's any questions so far.
No questions from the chat so far, but everybody, of course, feel free to pitch in the chat or unmute yourself right now. I'll have to say it looks really, really nice. It looks really cool. Uh, and I see you've added like a lot of features that make sense for like the Web3 space specifically.
Yeah,
So I think that's really powerful.
cool.
Um,
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, we've been shipping a lot of features that like I think one thing that makes Wonder different is that like we try really hard to understand like the end-to-end process for DAOs and try to create features that support those processes. I would say that like our product is really good for internal workflow. Because like we couple like governance and proposals with operations, with payments. But we also have an element of like engaging external communities, or sorry, folks outside of like your core team, or even just tapping like the greater Wonder community for support. So yeah, I would say that's one thing that's different about Wonder.
awesome.
So from oh sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so from here, like you can just like create tasks, or bounties or proposals, or milestones, pods, and grants. Tasks are basically like something that you can assign to like one person or one person works on it. So if it's something like create a landing page for our DAO, you wouldn't assign it to like five people. You'd assign it to like one person, who then might work with five other people, but it's like one person who's responsible for something. So from here, like you can add in like a reviewer, you can add in an assignee if you already know like who's going to work on it. But if you don't put in an assignee, you can actually like require applications. And so like let's say I don't know, create a landing page for sample DAO. I'll say like all members need to apply. So that means that like uh, you can't claim it. You actually have to apply to be assigned that work. So like if I was successful in my application, then I'll be assigned to the work. But there's like different configurations, like like everyone needs to apply except for certain members. So for example, like if you had that approved contributor role, then that means that like you don't have to apply because like you have the approved contributors role here, or maybe you can say like only approved contributors can apply for this particular assignment. From here, like you can also like put in like some due dates. We support like recurring tasks. You can also like put in reward amounts, like if you want to pay like with crypto, or you can like put in points. So points is just like a flexible way of like measuring task. So some organizations use it for payment in lieu of social tokens. Some organizations use it for like measuring complexity, but it's meant to be flexible for organizations to use as they see fit. You can also like assign a task to an overall milestone. So milestones are just like a roll up of like multiple things. You can add in categories to make it easier for people to search for, or even tags. And then yeah, so like then when you create this particular task, then it will just appear in your on your board. And because I didn't assign it to anybody and I didn't put in an application, it just becomes first come first serve. But from like this task, like then you can also create like subtasks. So I was saying like one person assigned to it, but then like creating a landing page could be like design the landing page, for example, and then actually assign it to somebody else. But then it still lives within the create a landing page task at the first place. And then you can like create things like bounties, which is just the ability for multiple people to work on the same thing. So think of things like competitions or contests, or like, hey, we need folks to help us retweet something. But the idea is that like because we support variable bounties, so you can run contest competitions. So for example, like I say top prize is $500, but then third prize is 100. If like this is the top prize, I can actually when I make payment, I can actually change this amount to like 500, and then choose my wallet to pay out this particular contributor. I can also like pay off platform with like adding in like a Utopia parcel link. So like we try to make it like really flexible for payment. I think another thing I want to point out is that we support in terms of like governance and proposals. This has been fairly popular. Is that you can create proposals within the overall workspace, like for sample DAO, or you can create proposals within a pod. So, for example, like this CRM integration is more for like the marketing pod, and so only marketing pod people can vote for this. But with the proposals, like we support discussions around these proposals. We support like what we call like soft voting or blind voting. So you can vote for or against a proposal. You can see like the number of votes, but you can't see who voted because even with like Discord voting, typically like you can kind of see like who's voted for what options. And like we think that like by not showing who voted for what, like it doesn't sway the votes. And if the vote is passed, you can approve this and then turn this into a task or a project you can assign people to work on. But if you want something like a little bit more like serious voting, we also support voting on Snapshot. So, for example, like distribute additional tokens for the strategy team. You might have done a soft vote first to kind of like directionally see like, hey, this is probably something that should be brought to a more formal vote. You can then export this to Snapshot, and you can then export this distribute additional tokens for the strategy team to be voted on Snapshot. And because it's connected to your Snapshot space, then it will just leverage whatever like voting strategies you've set up your Snapshot space to do. And so yeah, like this gives you like flexibility for proposals. Like it's helpful like if you were to do like that sort of like soft voting or like the social consensus vote or what we call social consensus voting. This might be good for like feedback on like designs, or it could be like things like just getting like a temperature check on direction of the DAO or the project. But more the formal consensus or like the on-chain voting might be more for like serious votes, or like something that requires like maybe a little bit more deliberation. But yeah, we support both. Um, some other features that I think is kind of cool might be like collaboration space. So like what we've recently launched is this idea of like a collaboration workspace where um, you can invite another organization to a shared workspace. So Wonder is part of Seed Club, and so we created this like Seed Club and Wonderverse shared workspace, where it's different from from the Wonderverse workspace. The idea is that like from here, like you can add in folks from like the partner organization. So for example, like Josh is part of Seed Club, and we've assigned him some work, or he's assigned himself some work. But like Adam is part of like Wonderverse, right? The idea is that like if because you have a shared workspace, it makes it really clear, which partner is working on what task. You could even set like some due dates. And the idea is that like this inherits a lot of like the features from like a regular workspace, such as connecting to a Discord server. And so like if you set up a due date, the Wonder bot will ping the Discord server to say like, hey, this particular task is like due in 2 days. Just so like you're aware of like what's going on, and you kind of see like what's who's doing what. This came about because like Andros and I have been like working with like literally hundreds of like organizations like through like Discord chats, Telegram chats, and it's like to be honest, like it's fairly hard to keep track of like who's doing what. because like all that lived inside like the chat itself. And so we created this collaboration workspace so that organizations can collaborate more easily with the shared workspace. The really cool thing I think about this shared workspace is that all the tasks here roll up to this mission control that I talked about before. And so like if you like just clicked into like this like to do for your personal Kanban board, then you'll actually see like all the work that's assigned to you as an individual across the different workspaces, including the shared workspace. So even if we have like 50 partners inside like shared workspaces, I don't have to go to like 50 different workspaces to see who's doing what. I can just go to my personal Kanban board and see like, oh, okay, like like these are the work that has been assigned to me. Then I can just like focus on that. Um, yeah, so like that's collaborations. Another thing that I think could be very helpful is that we created like this leaderboard or analytics space. This actually, to be honest, like came about having a conversation with folks from Metrics DAO, like just understanding like how a typical workflow happens like when rewarding regular contributors. And so like we created this analytics or leaderboard space page where from a given time period, you can see like who's completed like what tasks. So for example, Ben completed 22 tasks, Andros completed like 10, but I can like expand it and see like, what exactly Ben worked on and in what particular pod. So this is so analytics and leaderboard is for both the overall workspace, but also like pod specific. So for example, like you'll see Ben has like a lot of stuff, but all of it is in design pod. So if I were to go back to design pod, yeah, here it is. If I stay in the leaderboard and analytics, you'll just see that it's really just like Ben and Adam who's like active in design. And so like it's just like a way to break it down further. But within the leaderboard analytics page, because like you have more context in terms of like who's doing what, who's completed what, you can actually like reward your members like accordingly. So for example, like Terry has completed 6 things and he has 3 points. Ben has 22 but 0 points. But if I was an organization that uses points as like a measure of complexity, then maybe like even though he has 6 tasks and 3 points, it's actually worth more than like Ben's like 22 like maybe simple things, right? So maybe like I'll reward like Terry $1,000 and I'll reward like Ben like 200. But like you can change the payouts for like regular contributors over here, or you can like pay out individual completed like tasks and bounties like in a payments ledger. But here, like you can export it to be like compatible with like Utopia and Parcel if that's how you want to pay out your contributors. Or you can just like go to settings, and then we have like a payments ledger where you can like batch pay like all the rewards. So for example, like I can just like batch pay all these things and then like continue payment, and then I can just choose my wallet and it will export it to Gnosis Safe, and I can just like batch pay and save on gas fees, or even just save on time, right? Because like you can pay out like many things at the same time. Um, I think those are like the main things I wanted to show. Yeah, maybe like I'll pause here for like any questions or like yeah, like if you want to like clarify something, yeah, like happy to do it.
Wow, that's awesome. It's so extensive, like I almost can't believe it. How long have you been building?
We've been working on this since like January or so. We really launched like publicly in middle of June, where we like made this public for contributors. And
Mhm.
then yeah, since then we've just like continued like iterating on this. And yeah, like recently we launched that collaborations module for DAO to DAO collaborations. So like if you're like working with like many partners, then it might be like a great tool to keep track of like partnership conversations and tasks. But we're also like recently working with Gitcoin to support their intermediate round. And so we built a grants module to make it easier for organizations to give out grants, but then also keep track of like progress of like the grantees like progress when building something based on the grant.
Nice, very smart. Um, how does it currently work if people want to try it out? Is there like a free trial account or how does that go?
Yeah. If you create an account on Wonder, if you just go to like app.wonderverse.xyz, you can create an account with your MetaMask wallet or Wallet Connect. You can also create an account with your Discord account or your email or just like the regular email and password. Of course, like if you connect your wallet, then you can get rewarded in crypto. Depending on like if the task pays in crypto. But if you want to just work with your Discord account, that's cool too. And if you want to create a workspace, once you've created an account, you can just click on this plus sign over here and
Mm,
create a new org workspace. Oh, sorry, this is staging, so it might be a little bit different, but it looks pretty much the same. You can just enter your organization name, your username, and then a description, and pretty much like after like two more clicks, like you've created a workspace for you.
awesome. Okay, yeah, so it's kind of similar to other project management tools that I'm familiar with, but it's just like so much more extensive, specifically for like Web3 space kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
I mean, I
It's very tailored and customized for Web3 projects. Like I would say, yeah, like we really lean heavily into like understanding like the processes of DAOs. And so like it's meant more for like internal workflow, but of course like you can like create public bounties for for the community. But I would say like yeah, that's probably our strong point is like it really mirrors like the DAO process.
awesome. All right. If anybody from the group has any questions, feel free to unmute or drop your questions in chat. Um, in the meantime, I have a question that's not so much about the demo or the tool itself, but it's a bit more like a business strategy type question, if you will.
Hmm.
Um, the thing with these tools, right, is that people kind of have investment costs once the organization is rooted in a certain project management tool. Um, how would you respond to that? It's a bit of a hard question, maybe unfair question, but it's something you'll have to deal with as an organization, I think. So I'm just curious, just shooting the shit, basically.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, no. That's actually a really good question. I think like whenever you're evaluating tools, like like I would say like the first step is like just to try it out, right? Because like there's literally no harm or no downside like when you're trying a new tool. But like I would just caution that like like actually try it out, like not just create an account and then you kind of click two clicks and you're like maybe it's not for me. I would just like say spend a little bit more time than that. But I think the way that we've designed it is that we don't really want to like lock in people because like I think that's like against our philosophy of like more open opportunities to like get involved with Web3 projects. And so like we've actually made it like easy to both onboard and also offboard. So like what I mean by that is like under the under settings, if you're currently using Notion, like you can quickly like import all the tasks from Notion into Wonder, right? So you can kind of like right off the bat you can kind of like quickly see like oh okay like this is what it looks like for my workspace. But you can also import tasks from CSV. And so like because of that, like again, you can like get started like very quickly. And then the offboarding is like we want to make it easy for you to like leave if you choose to do so. You can actually like so for all the completed tasks, you can actually just like, export it out to oh sorry, I don't think I'm sharing my screen. I'm sharing a window maybe, so maybe you don't see this, but you can then like export like all the completed stuff into like a CSV. And again, like then you can like use that CSV to import it like elsewhere or something. Let me know if you can see my screen because again, I don't know if I'm sharing my screen or a window, but even if not, like this is correct. Like you can just go to export tasks and you'll get a CSV of all the things that your organization has already completed. So we try to make it easy for you to both onboard but also offboard.
Awesome. That's really good solution. I think I hear someone. Yes.
I personally have not tested Asana, but I think our team has tested Asana and well, Notion would just be like with that like the Notion or import. But I think we've tested with Asana because I think we tested with Asana, and I think that was actually like our first test because like Asana seemed to come up quite often for other projects that we talked to. So yeah, it should work. Yeah.
Awesome. Um, well, I don't have any more questions. If nobody else has any more questions, I want to hand it off to you to maybe close out with any final things you want to share. Where can we best find you guys, or if people have more questions, where can the best go? Where can they best go? Um, that would be handy to know.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think if you are thinking of like creating a workspace, or if you want to think about like migrating over to like Wonder or just start using Wonder, you can actually like reach out to me. So I'll drop my like uh, I'll drop my email and also my TG in the chat, and then you can like follow up with me. I'm happy to like do like a more thorough walkthrough, and also like just with a better understanding of like how your projects are structured or like what's sort of top of mind. I can like then sort of customize a walkthrough or even like help you set up your workspace. We've taken a really like hands-on approach with anybody who reaches out to us because like we want to like make sure like you get set up for success. And
Mm.
so yeah, like when I share my contact, like don't be shy, like just reach out and I'll set up like a walkthrough with you, a demo, and just like better understand like how your project is structured. And then I would just say that like we do try to take like a very collaborative approach to co-create like some of these features and things. So a lot of like what you see, what I showed you today was like a direct result of like having conversations with our partners and just like understanding like, hey, like how do we make your life easier as an operator or as a contributor? And so like yeah, we'd be super down to yeah like discuss like what feature requests that you need to make your life easier, or even just like anything that sort of annoys you. Yeah, like we're super open to like getting that feedback.
Awesome. That sounds great. That's amazing. Um, all right, we'll check for your email in the chat. I
Cool.
wonder if it will be visible for people rewatching this. We'll probably
Oh,
post this
sure.
on
Yeah.
YouTube.
So maybe
Maybe.
I'll just like mention my contact. So
Oh yeah, that's
and
great.
I'll also drop it in the chat. But yeah, so my email is ed at wonderverse.xyz. And then my TG is jackalpha underscore XYZ.
Awesome. I just heard it will show up in chat, or
Oh, okay,
chat
great.
will show up in the video. So
Okay,
that's great.
cool.
If you
Perfect.
can drop it in there,
Yeah.
um, we'll capture that nicely and we can wrap up. And we can probably drop it in. Oh, great. There it is. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time and for your presentation. Your tool, it looks really, really cool. It's so extensive. Um, really cool stuff you've been building. Can't wait to see what else is in store and to try it out. And thanks once again for being here.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Really appreciate it. And yeah, like thank you everyone for attending today.
For sure. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Jack. We'll be in
Yeah.
touch.
All right, take care everyone.
Take care.